situation?
Well, this is an unusual situation. It's one of the most unusual situations I've ever seen in the NFL in my 30 years of being associated with it. And you just can't put this in one category. So I'm going to try to separate this into two things. Because as a professional football player, you do realize that I'm an independent contractor. I'm in this for myself and for my family. And at the end of the day, a lot of players, we've said this. When you leave the NFL, you got two things you're going to take with you. Number one is money, and the other is memories. Those are the only things you're going to be able to take with you. So try to get as much of both of those as possible. So I can't begrudge a man for trying to maximize his moment in the light. I tried to do the same thing, just a different way. Now, he's been forced based on the way the Pittsburgh Steelers have decided that they're only going to reward him a certain amount for his overall durability, the way he's played, his all-purpose yards. Like, they're only going to honor him. They're not going to pay him like the other NFL contracts. So when we got into this franchise thing, the NFL owners' collective bargaining agreement, it was not meant to be where we are right now as far as this. It was meant so that you could secure your top players, and they would get the average of the top 5 players. And
so everybody wins. It's supposed to be win-win.
So we wouldn't be like the other franchise where you couldn't protect one or two guys. We would always have that, and that's something that's helped football be one of the most popular sports.
And the reason it was put in the way it was it wasn't really for guys that were at the top 5 of their position. The reason it was okay with it being the average top 5 guys, it's a guy we want to keep, but we either can't agree to terms on. He's had an injury history, like what might happen with Clowney and the Texans this offseason. He showed flashes of greatness, but so where the player, yeah, I'd like a long-term deal, but I'm getting overpaid for a year. For Le'Veon and guys in his situation,
the assumption is they would have been signed to a long-term deal.
It's not only do I not have a long-term deal, but I'm being underpaid because I'm not the average of the top 5. I'm the best or the second best. Here's what I find most fascinating about where we're at now if he doesn't show up today. If he doesn't show up today, it is hard to argue he played this wrong because he made a decision that I am going to choose conservation over immediate compensation. And I thought the worst decision he could make would have been playing half the year. So I'm giving up $7, $8, $9, maybe $10 million, and you still can get hurt. There's no rule.
I think there's a greater probability of you getting hurt with missing half the season, missing training camp and the OTAs than there are if you had gone
and played the whole
been there the whole time. So that part right there, I do agree with you
Nick,
on that.
You should just tell the audience how much money would he have made this year?
$14.4 million is what he would have made with $0 guaranteed past this season. And so once he decided to miss games, as long as he knew, and I don't know if he knew or he's just now finding out, that the Steelers cannot essentially franchise tag him a third time.
I don't think they knew this because the way they communicated, him and his agent, especially to the players, and what they had released from a media standpoint, is that they didn't know what all the options were.
So there's in the I don't want to get in the weeds too far. I just want people to understand. It's unclear in the CBA. If you get franchise tagged a second time and you never sign it, if they franchise tag you again, is that the third time or is that still the second time?
Okay.
The NFL released this past week, it's the third time. And the third time is the quarterback number, which would mean it's $25 million. 0% chance any team is paying Le'Veon Bell $25 million for 1 year. So once that became clear, he's totally de-incentivized to show up at all.
Right.
He now knows he's going to hit free agency fully healthy, and he knows, he's not going to have a year of 25 touches per game, which is what he's averaged most NFL history in his career with the Steelers.
The reason why I don't agree with you on the finances, because say, for instance, he does sign with another team. Say he just, for practical matter, he gets $45 million. Say he gets 30 of that guaranteed. If I put the other $15 million on top of that, I got $60 million. So we don't know what's going to happen long term, but for me, I could understand because the money part, as an independent contractor, you have to try to maximize that. With the franchise tag, it became very, very hard for him. But the problem is, you're playing a team sport. You're not an individual. So his career, what we say in the locker room is once you sign your contract, everyone's signed up to try to win the Super Bowl. Now, everyone's trying to play as good as they can, but the game, the reason why we're playing the game is so that we might win the Super Bowl. Bell has been in that locker room, and he has signed up to say, I'm trying to win a Super Bowl. And now he's got to tell his teammates, you know something? That's not the most important thing to me. Right now, the most important thing to me is for me to preserve my body, all right, so that I can hit free agency and try to maximize on those guaranteed dollars. So I can understand why his teammates in the past, who we're all signing up for this. And then now, in the middle of the story, now Bell has changed his course without telling them.
What about his teammates in the future? How does that affect wherever he signs? I think most people think it'll be the Colts or the Jets, wherever it is. How does it affect how people view him moving forward? If he does suffer an injury, if he is questionable for a game?
I just think that it's impossible to forget all this information when every week we have a scouting report. Man, who's doubtful? Who's questionable? Who's probable? Who's practicing? Who's pushing through? Like, who's not worried? When you have guaranteed contract, there is no need for you to be concerned. You can play with injuries and everything because you got long-term commitment from the team. Bell, will he always be thinking about himself? Will he always be trying to preserve his body the rest of the way? Because he'll have a year of saying, you know something, the most important thing is my body. And typically, when we sign up and say we're getting ready to try to win this championship, we disregard our body for long term to try to win right now. So if he sits out, if he misses any other time, it would be easy for people to question his overall commitment to that team based on what's happened in Pittsburgh this year.
Do you think other teams will be hesitant to sign him in any way? I know the easy answer is like, no, he's Lev Bell, he's amazing. Do you think another team will be hesitant to bring him in after the year they just won?
I don't think that he attracted more teams. I think that there was going to be a certain number of teams that had a great deal of interest in Bell because his skill as a football player. The New York Football Jets would take him right now. They could use him.
Regardless of how he handled and played this situation.
It's business.
Yeah.
It's business. The Jets understand the franchise tag. They understand. Now, teams understand the business. What do they get in the locker room? So now I just believe they have to do a lot of intel. You got to do a lot of background into knowing the person more so than the situation. I don't believe he's more attractive because he sat out a year. He thinks he is. His agent thinks he is. And that's yet to be seen.
And how this affects running backs that aren't Le'Veon Bell, we should mention. I do not think this was his prerogative. I don't think this was on his list of priorities, but sometimes there are unintended consequences. Le'Veon Bell now, with the NFL making it clear that if you get franchise tagged a second time, the next time, and you sit out the year, the next time it's a third franchise tag. And Le'Veon Bell, after David Johnson got money, Todd Gurley got money, we think Zeke's going to get money, we know he's going to get money. All of a sudden, the running back, which is the one position that has been kind of the most screwed over by the rookie wage scale, because guys' careers are so much shorter, by the franchise tag, because we can squeeze one extra year out of you.
Also how they've used the running back. They've platooned the running back, so you didn't need to spend all those resources on a top-flight running back.
Absolutely right. And the success of guys like Kareem Hunt that weren't first-round picks, the success of guys that we've seen, all of a sudden it changes it a little bit. This has been really good for running backs not named Le'Veon Bell.
But to think that he was doing this for a running back is a bunch of BS.
Correct. Like I said, unintended consequence. I don't think he was out there trying to be a freedom fighter.
Oh, no, I jumped on the grenade. What the heck was that? That was an accident.
I think that's probably accurate.
All right, we'll talk more about this coming up. On the other side.